What's going on, guys and gals? This is Auto Tech. It would certainly appear we are heading straight towards a storm. That's okay. I mean, we don't have to go that far west. I'm actually just trying to log some miles on this thing. Yeah, and that brings me to this. Welcome to the 2018 Triumph Tiger 800 XCA. Oh, it's just so beautiful. So beautiful. Now, before you go and, be like, what the hell, man? I guess let me try and justify myself a little bit here. If you remember way back to the Why You Do That video, like in regards to the FJ09, I was talking about how I wasn't sure if it was something I wanted to get into. I wasn't sure if it was something I would enjoy. So I just wanted to have like a cheaper entrance and see what I thought of it, and then go from there. So, just remember that, when I jumped on the FJ09, it definitely wasn't a end-all, be-all, keep this bike for a million years, I'm going to retire with this thing in my garage. It was a good entry, and then I did the adventure-esque modifications to it to, get it to where I wanted it, sort of, so it could, do some gravel and stuff, and see how I enjoyed that. Turns out, I actually really enjoyed that bike. It actually turned out to be awesome. I enjoyed commuting it. I liked having the saddlebags on it. I enjoyed the wind protection. So I don't know what's been going on with this year, but we have not had a decent morning so far. I think we've had one morning where I wasn't cold on my way to work, and that was I want to say it was 13 degrees Celsius, and I was like, oh boy, this is a warm one. That's probably mid-40s Fahrenheit. But yeah, just the wind protection, the heated seat, the heated grips. Oh, it was nice just cruising that thing to and from work. And then I'd get home, I'd jump on the Harley, go for a cruise around town. Oh, life was good. But then I started thinking, I was like, man, I kind of want more out of this bike. And I was like, I actually kind of want to do some true adventure riding, not just driving down a gravel road. Look at me go, I would love to do the Alcan next summer, or even around here there's one called the Powder Face Trail and stuff like that, and it was, I put a skid plate and stuff on the Yamaha, but a little bit further than a gravel road and you're gonna start just breaking that thing apart. So I got to looking at reservoir shocks and upgrading the front end, a little bit longer travel forks, and the zeros started to add on very quickly. I was like, oh boy, I did the whole suspension on the Harley, good quality stuff, progressive suspension, and altogether it was going to come into less than just that reservoir shock for the FJ. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I could justify that. Which then led me to the interwebs, where I started researching, reading reviews, watching videos. Remember to always take reviews and videos with a grain of salt. For example, since I'm riding this thing, I'll crap talk this one a little bit just because it's fair game. If you watch some of the 2018 Tiger 800 launch videos, these guys are all saying how amazing this bike is. It's phenomenal. It can do everything you want. It'll even cook you dinner after you're done. Don't forget, those guys were paid to go to Morocco. They got put up in a hotel in Morocco. Their expenses were paid for in Morocco. And then they got to ride the XCA and the XRT for 2 days. And then they had to do a review on it. Now, obviously, those reviews are a little purchased, so you gotta take your reviews and your videos and stuff like that with a grain of salt. Pick certain things out of them, if they're saying just everything's great, there's nothing wrong with it, oh man, it's they're not being honest with you. But if they're the windshield buffets a bit, but at this speed it's fine, it's okay, so he's probably being honest there, and then you can kind of go from there. So I was extremely hot and bothered over that possibility of that Yamaha Tenere 700. They did that T7 prototype thing at that Milan show, and it was looking good, and it was a nice mid-size adventure bike. Now, the reason I kind of wanted mid-size is just because I'll save that for another video. That one will be a 10-minute topic all on its own. But so anyways, yeah, they announced that T7 at the concept or whatever. They didn't announce it, but they brought it, and everybody was like super excited about it. Great. Now, they took that T7, turned it into the Tenere 700 World Raid, and then now they've been doing those tours or whatever, like those cross-country tours, sorta. And so I mean, like, this thing is within a year to 2 years of production, and I was like, oh man, like that's probably the bike. But then, you know, I kind of got thinking about it. I was like, well, I kind of want something now. And you know, you never really want to buy the first model of anything like that. You know, first generation of anything sucks. Like, take it from me, working in a dealership and being a mechanic for all these years, you do not want a first generation bike. Which led me into some other bikes. From there, you know, I started kind of looking at some like KTMs and stuff like that. Like they got that what is it, the 790 or something, or 770 coming out pretty quick. And that's an adventure bike, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just not a KTM fan. Like, they're good machines, they run well. I'm just not a fan. You know, like, there's nothing I can say that's really good or bad about them. I just don't like them. So that one wasn't even on the list. Then I started kind of looking at like the V-Strom, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, that's not too bad, but I just found it was like really pricey for what you actually get out of it. You know, like, it's like around here, you know, you were going to be close to $14,000, and I mean, the bike was basically just a bike. Like, it had no features, no options, and I was like, okay, so that was kind of out of the list. So then it kind of narrowed me down to like BMW and Triumph. Now, the reason the Africa Twin didn't even like really make my list there is because I'm just not tall enough for it, and I wasn't really interested in going too small with one. So that they kind of eliminated themselves there, unfortunately. I didn't want to have to get into getting lowered seats and doing like stupid modifications like that, because the way that you lower those seats is you cut material out of them, so then they're not going to be as comfortable. So that wasn't something that really interested me in the slightest. So then that brought us into like the BMW versus Triumph thing, and then I started kind of researching those two, and unfortunately, like the 1200 BMW and the 1200 Tiger just weren't even on my radar. Like, I had no interest in some just massive machine, and you know, we'll save that why smaller might be better for another video. But yeah, so that basically brought me down into like the Tiger 800, and then the like BMW 800 or 750. I had heard that they were coming out with an 850 or something like that, but you know, like, obviously if I was looking to get something like right now, I didn't want to wait for it to like fully be released. Alright, back to it here. Sorry about the random jumping all over the place here. It's just I hate sitting there at a red light and talking about it, because then you're not actually like seeing anything move. But okay, so we're narrowed down to like the Tiger 800 or the BMW 800 or 750. So I'm going to be honest, the 750 really didn't even make my list. Like, when it came down to like the two 800s and stuff like that, and I was already running a 900, I was kind of just like, you know, like, yeah, I'll look at it when I'm there, but like, whatever, we're not going to worry about it too much. So then I got into the BMW 800 versus the Tiger 800, and so I started reading some reviews, and I mean, like, pound for pound, I mean, those bikes are like, they're competitors, right? Like, you know, you read these reviews and stuff, and like, they're like within 5 pounds of each other. They're like within 3 horsepower of each other. They're within like a couple miles per hour top speed of each other. And it was just like, okay, so like, these two bikes are competent machines, you know, And then you kind of get into like, okay, well, like what are the features? And that's what it ended up kind of getting broken down for me. Now this Tiger having the triple, you guys know how much I love a triple engine. Like if it's not a V-twin, it's a triple. Like, I mean, I've owned 2 of them, now 3, and it's just like something keeps drawing me back to that triple. The smoothness, the power delivery, the drivability, it's just a phenomenal engine in my opinion. So that kind of put it well above the BMW in my books with that parallel twin. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was parallel twin. Either way, whatever, someone will correct me. But so then we got comparing the bikes. Both of them came with heated grips. Great, awesome, perfect. The Triumph came with the heated seats. Ooh, yeah. Individually controlled. Oh, high-low setting. That's just, now we're talking. Now we are talking. BMW did not. And from all the reviews that I read, their seat that comes on the bike was just about as low quality as the seat that came on the FJ09. And I don't know if you remember some of my videos from when I was first taking that thing out. It was uncomfortable. Like it didn't cup you at all. It just kind of slanted you forward, rolled your stuff underneath your thighs and pinched, and oh man, it was just a miserable time. So that right there was like huge. It was kind of like, I don't want to buy a bike and then, oh, now I've got to get the BMW comfort seat and it's $700, or I'm gonna have to go and get another Corbin or, you know, Mustang seat or something, and then those are more than $600-700. So it's kind of like, okay, well, that's a huge tick to it right there, because I definitely do not want to have to sink a lot of money into a bike that I just purchased, which I've done in the past. But besides the point. So that right there was another point for the Triumph. Like the seat was better and it was heated. Then came the cruise control. Yeah. The Triumph had the cruise control. The BMW did not. And that was kind of a big one for me. Like the FJ would have been like, oh, it would have been perfect, if it just had that cruise control. And yeah, I ended up adding it, getting some use out of it, and that cruise control ended up being like a huge selling feature for me. So it actually, like, I want to say that it probably actually added more value than it cost. I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, so it actually ended up adding quite a bit of value to, like, when I was selling it. Like, it was just a huge feature. So I was like, great, that's awesome. So there we go. We got another tick for the Triumph. And I was like, ugh, okay, well, we're starting to see a clear winner here. And then I ended up just seeing this thing, and I was like, yeah, all right, yep. And he's like, I played it cool. I was, I was doing a little hard to get. Like, yeah, kind of torn on this one. Or, perhaps the Honda, yes. Because they didn't sell Hondas there, right? So, they want to make the sale. So then he says, have you ridden one yet? I was like, no. And he's like, well, let's go for a test drive. I was like, Richie, what? Really? I'd never really come across a dealership that just, like, offered that. Like, usually they're just kind of like, yeah, if you want to see the bike or even sit on it, like, I'm going to need a deposit from you today. Yeah. And it's like, so, like, as soon as they offered to let me ride a demo, I was kind of like, oh, that's a thing of beauty. So we took the Tiger out, went for a good ride, and I was like, that's it. This is the one. So that's pretty well the story of how I ended up with that. It was kind of an itch I always had, and then I kind of got a little bit more itchy, started scratching it, started looking at it, and then when I was able to dump the FJ for a reasonable price, not really lose on it or anything like that, and then jump on this, I was like, cool, like that's awesome. What more can you ask, right? Like usually, you go to sell a bike and you get hosed, right? Or, like even a vehicle, for example, like, if you're switching vehicles all the time, it's like chances are you're taking a bath on each one. Like, yeah, they work the financing out all right, and that term keeps getting 1 year longer, and your payments stay pretty similar, but when you start looking at that bottom right-hand side of the credit application, like that number just keeps getting bigger and bigger because you're going further and further into debt. So to break somewhat even and not take a bath, I feel like I did pretty good there. So you know what there though, guys and gals, I think I drug this one on extremely long, and I am sorry about that, but I wanted to walk you through the process of how I got to where I'm at right now. I hope you're going to enjoy the videos coming up on this thing. I'm really excited about the stuff that's going to be heading your way. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and thanks for taking the time and watching.